programa Ciência, Espiritualidade e hoje nós estamos fazendo uma série especial com o professor de Física Quântica Amit Goswami. Vamos agora acompanhar uma entrevista realizada com o professor Goswami sobre o ativismo quântico e a não localidade nas nossas atividades diárias.
Thank you very much for being with us. It's an honor to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so maybe a good start would be hearing a little bit from you. What is quantum activist about? What is to be a quantum activist in this moment in the world?
Quantum physics gives us not only ways of thinking, but radical new ways of living. Not exactly radical in the sense that we didn't know it before, we did, but radical in the sense that now it comes from solid knowledge of how these quantum aspects of movement, how they are important to us, how they contribute to our life, the basic meaning, basic value of life. So in this way, we can concentrate social problems, we can concentrate our personal problems. Both, of course, in this particular time have become very important and often quite connected. The world is in trouble, we have crisis, and our persona likewise, our being likewise is in trouble. We also want to change that. The causes often are related. So quantum activism is an idea of changing, making changes in our persona, in our character, in our attitudes, as also making changes in the world in the same process, following quantum principles. These principles are very simple, but they are also unusual. We have not considered them en masse before. One principle is non-locality. It sounds a little mysterious, but actually all it means is signal-less communication, such as mental telepathy. But now we have very, very good evidence, scientific evidence, for the existence of non-local communications between humans so very well that it is time that we incorporate that in our life. How do we do that? Well, we increase the dimension of social living that we do. We interact with others, because this non-locality works to an interactive, interconnected consciousness. A second principle is discontinuity. We are, ordinary life, we are used to continuity, continuous thinking, stream of consciousness thinking, that's what we do. But once in a while, we'll have a thought which doesn't quite fit the continuous pattern. We call it an intuitive thought. Now, what we find in recent research, creativity researchers have discovered that intuition is just a glimpse at a process which is much more general, which is called the creative process. And if we follow that process, this intuitive thought becomes full-blown, discontinuous experiences of thought, which are thoughts of new stuff, completely new things, new meaning in a new context. This creativity is what we need to get us out of these huge social problems we have created. It turns out that creativity is also what we need for personal transformation. So in this way, following quantum principles such as non-locality and discontinuity, we make progress. We make changes. That's the idea of quantum activism.
This is very interesting. So if I understood well the non-locality principles, such as work you mentioned in your book from Dean Hadin, from the IONS Institute, could you explore a little bit this idea a little bit better? Because it seems to us that we are all interconnected in some ways, that even not speaking or relating face to face, we are communicating, or we are integrating, or we are part of a great nest of something higher and bigger. So what would be an approach to help us understand how to deal with non-locality on our day-to-day activities and our interactions with people?
Yeah, first of all, I don't want to worry anyone. This non-local interconnectedness is not going to be active unless we trigger it. So we are not going to be bombarded by non-local connections from others unless we want it, unless we trigger it in some ways. Only when we become so correlated that triggering does the correlation, which requires local interaction. Unless that happens, the non-local connections will not bother us. But if that happens, then there is an enormous scope here to basically change the level of our consciousness. I'll give you an example. Everybody knows the value of meditation. If we just sit down quietly and then watch our thoughts without judgment, without busy interfering with the thoughts, just watch them, like we watch clouds in the sky sometimes in a relaxed moment. If we do that, then we feel better later. In fact, people who have done that regularly say that they can now have a relaxation of a kind that they have not known before. Medical people have found this relaxation extremely useful. So these are just fact. What is interesting is that if we meditate with other people around us, then we fall into this interconnected consciousness much easier. And this relaxation that is very important part of our life, can enhance our life, happens much more easily. This is an example of how, by understanding a process that we are completely capable of, that is completely within our potential, we can activate it. We can easily start the olden practices of going to a church or a temple or any organization, organized meeting on Sundays, or at least maybe other days too, and meet with others and meditate with them. This used to be the whole idea of such congregations of prayers and offerings to God. God is not, in the new science, God is not a majestic human being on a throne sitting somewhere in the sky.
Yes.
Instead, God is this non-local consciousness that we can attain when we engage with this interconnectedness.
Vamos agora fazer uma breve pausa e voltamos já já.